Good morning and welcome to the Capital Gang. I am Oscar Semoyamsoke, and as Moses of a morning show would say, with a bevy of topics. In the studio, I have Joseph Otieno. We are feeling sorry for Joseph. We will feel sorry for you. We will not say poor Joseph, but we'll feel sorry for you. But welcome to Ghana.
Why don't you just say Bambi?
Even Bambi. Even Bambi we can manage.
Oscar, I'm a very sad man.
Yes.
I'm a very sad man because...
Let me do some welcoming people here and then we'll get into that sadness. We have Mr. Harold Kaija. Mr. Kaija, you're most welcome to Gang.
Thank you so much.
Yes. I like the way you said which one is our seat. This Semuju's seat. That's the one. but go to the microphone.
Sorry.
Yes. So you're most welcome to Gang. We've been missing you.
Thank you. I think I was last year at the start of the year.
And your party, we don't understand what your position is. There have been accusations that you Semoju and Rodme have given yourself all the positions. So which ones are yours?
Which one was remaining for us?
That was propaganda from some sections of Ugandans who do not want to see progress. Right. I am actually the Deputy Chief of Staff.
Deputy Chief of Staff.
Exactly.
Of
in
PFA.
Charge of policy and communication.
Right.
Yeah.
So you are in charge of thinking and in charge of talking.
Exactly. I'm actually the deputy of the Honorable Ibrahim Semeju.
Right. Okay. Then we have the money man, Benjamin Katana.
And he has come with a sack.
Well, I don't know if he has a sack, but this is the money man of NUP. You're most welcome to Gang. Benjamin.
Thank you, Oscar. It's always a pleasure. And you can see I have taken over the seat that is normally occupied by NRM, an indication that we are taking the State House as the presidential seat.
Is that why you're not in red?
I am not so sure. Lydia Wanyoto is coming, and Abdul Katuntu is also coming, so you may not last in that NRM seat. But nominations are over. Joseph, remember, I invited you here on Wednesday at about 6 p.m., having seen that you were not nominated. So what happened?
So you decided to make me...
No, because I was waiting. I was
subjected to trauma for a whole 1 week.
Well, I was glued to the television waiting to see a UPC candidate. I wasn't sure that it would be you or Akena. In the end, it is neither.
I like the way you put it. But could easily have been Peter Walabiri too.
Oh. Is he also a party leader? So you have three factions?
He's actually the nearest to the legal leader of the party. I was actually talking to a news network earlier and was explaining that. And I think it's important to put in that context. The other person who's claiming presidency is Dennis NUP, who, on the basis really of the constitution of the party and what has been going on legally, became what he calls a president through an illegality. So participated in illegality, as it were. But the people who
hold on a second. Yeah. So we have Jimmy Akena, Joseph Otieno, Peter Walubiri. Who's the other one?
Dennis NUP.
Dennis NUP. So you could have had 4 UPC presidents.
No, it's a mess. We actually have 3 people who call themselves president
of UPC.
Jim Akena, Peter Walubiri, and Dennis NUP.
Yes.
I call myself, and I've been a guest to you here several times, a presidential candidate because I was not declared following my successful election as president, and I went to court.
Yeah.
I've suggested that you are declared a president either by the Internal Electoral Commission of the party or a competent court, and I'm doing so deliberately. But also to go through that process, you must have met the threshold for district delegates, district conferences, and get through and get formally elected by the delegates conference. On this occasion, Dennis NUP, on the side of the illegality, did not meet any of those thresholds. In any case, Jimmy Akena's illegality is that he met the threshold for the district conferences in 2015, but did not go through the other process. And that is how illegal he continues to be in that sense.
Jimmy Akena calls you the president of UPC Media Wing. He says you are not on the ground.
Can I declare this? That actually, you know that as recent as 3 years ago, you would call Jimmy on phone and he would not respond. And I know many editors who told me that they were no longer going to have him. So he was hiding at the time, but I was keeping this party relevant through this media. I think
he comes here whenever we invite him.
These days he does, anyway. But that's not the issue. So the point really is that I'm quite content being a presidential candidate and using every space and means available to market Uganda People's Congress and also to expose the incompetences of NRA regime as it is and to give hope to young people in this country.
But Joseph,
so if you then give me that as a title for president of the media, I'm quite happy to take it. But I'd rather take the president of the media than hide in the night, playing games one thing in the morning, playing another games in the afternoon using different colors.
We will decipher all that in a second. But so the bus has gone. The nominations have ended. So what next then?
As it happens, actually, Jimmy's team has gone to court. To be fair to them, they've gone to court to challenge the guidance of the Electoral Commission that was issued on Monday, and they suggest that the Electoral Commission erred in guiding them against a nomination. The Electoral Commission, of course, is a matter in court at the moment. I seem to suggest that they simply guided that none of the people who were presenting themselves as president on that occasion, who had picked nomination forms, Jimmy and Dennis, qualified on the basis of the party constitution, the legal details that they actually have, and then the pending matters in court. I picked nomination forms, but I did not return them because I was expecting, as you said, to be declared president the following week. I wasn't, and so therefore I did not return nomination forms. So the Electoral Commission knew that I was not presenting myself as a candidate to be nominated unless declared otherwise. So that happened. Very unfortunate and very disappointing for me, because I said my matter has been in court for the last 4.5 years. And if there's anybody who feels most aggrieved, it's myself, because I thought I was playing neat. I thought I was playing legal. I thought I was playing constitutional. I thought I was playing decent. But it appears some people thought I should perhaps have gone to the bush instead. What the state of the party at the moment is such that we are faced with an election that we just missed the deadline, and so we did not have a candidate. But you should also know that this is the third time we're not going to have a candidate for president. And I've been asking some of my colleagues, while I have been away on this from 2020, why did we not field a candidate in 2016, lest we forget? Why did we not field a candidate in 2021? The people who were relevantly claiming to be leaders of the party at the time should answer that to party members and citizens of this country. Why must we do it today? It is true that partly, the terrain has changed around, but you can't use the crowd you've got as numbers to determine whether or not you're the school prefect. You've got to go through a process, and we basically did not go through the process ourselves, in part because of a mess in the party, in part because, as I said, of the failures of the High Court to pronounce itself appropriately. Right. My concern, if you don't mind 30 seconds, are the members of the party who are presenting themselves as for parliament and lower council elections. They're generally very concerned. I told the Electoral Commission in a meeting publicly that whatever the outcome of our meetings and whatever our mess, people who are seeking those positions should not be disadvantaged. And it's my hope to continue to have that conversation with my colleagues and with the Commission and with our lawyers to make sure those people are not disadvantaged. And finally, that whatever happens as an outcome, all of us leaders should agree to work together to go around and campaign for all our candidates, but also go ahead and seek to put our house in order so that we make sure that we be able to give hope for the likes of the Katanas who may be hoping and expecting to join Uganda People's Congress in 5 years' time.
That's what I was going to ask next. So are you fielding members of parliament? Are you fielding people for district officers? Yes. And are you in touch with them? Is it Dennis in touch with them? Or is it Jimmy who's in touch with them?
We are. In any case, this morning I was having a meeting before getting involved in a radio conversation before this. Yesterday I met up to 3 different candidates, 2 of whom are local councils. One of them is a prospective parliamentary candidate. So yes, of course, we're in touch with all these people, these candidates. But part of the thing here is also that there is very bad propaganda going out there, including by people who want to make and score points. One, scaring our members, and then two, of course, in a way perhaps are strategically campaigning from other political parties and organizations that UPC is not going to field candidates so that they make the exploitation. But it's important our members know that they should continue to prepare, should continue to campaign, and it's completely the case that we will make sure that whoever is seeking positions for parliament or any other lower positions is supported. In fact, my own position is that now that it's likely that we will not have a presidential candidate, that our resources and efforts should be used towards the candidates in the lower council levels and also towards reorganizing the party, meaning that actually at the end of the day we might lose out on the presidency, that is in case we do, but the resources are best used to support the candidates on the lower levels.
I think you've also lost out on the members of parliament because Norbert Mao, who is the president of 1DP, has said that your UPC is in a block with its UPC, DP, I think Gemma and one other. You're in a particular block to support President Museveni and NRM and to stop NUP.
To stop
PFF did not get any mention, but that's a block, and UPC has been it has been claimed that UPC is in that block.
No, Jimmy is in that block plus a few of his other people. UPC as a political party is not there. Jimmy is not president of Uganda Post Congress. He hasn't, in my opinion, hasn't been, and any discussions and any decisions that he makes on his behalf and the interest on the behalf of those associated with him are not a representative of Uganda People's Congress. So whatever deal Jimmy, Norbert and others have with Mr. Museveni and other team, that is a matter for them. Quite clearly it's not a position of Uganda People's Congress. And I wish them well, but UPC members must know that they don't have any association with such kind of arrangement.
Do you think you meet with Jimmy Akena and Dennis and make up?
We've met, the four of us, and we've also met the three of us. And I would do so tomorrow if it is necessary that our meeting helps to resolve matters. I'm very confident that should happen, and anybody sensible, anybody interested in Uganda Post Congress should be willing to talk. Oscar, before 2020 Court of Appeal ruling, I made huge efforts, plus a number of my colleagues, including some leaders from near Lydia's home, my home in Tororo, in Teso and other places, including here in Buganda, including in the Western, to try and persuade our then warring parties, Jimmy and his other colleagues, Wallo leaders and others, to talk. That actually failed, and when the Court of Appeal ruling came, we said, look, let's follow the legal route and legal outcome to be able to make sure that we resolve this. I don't think if we did that time, partly with my own initiative, there's no reason why we don't do it today.
Thank you. Thank you. The listeners and UPC members will recognize that I've given UPC or Joseph Ocheno's UPC
You're very generous.
Full 20 minutes to thresh out.
Was it already 20?
Very close to 20. It's 19. So it doesn't mean you've clarified things for us, but I think you've made a statement. So
Lida is so happy. Lida is so happy. But she's my sister. I'm going to Mbale today.
Well, welcome to Gang.
You see, thank you, Oscar. You see, when you see me smiling and maybe sometimes looking like I have not surgery, it's because I'm supposed to be in the first family. My aunt married Adoko Nechon, so you can see.
Yeah.
And we,
so you
know how big a first family they can be.
Exactly.
So now when I was a little girl hearing about this about a family, and my daddy used to visit, to visit the
but now
first
you're
family.
Smiling at
now
their demise.
Now certainly in 1986 things changed. When I see these channels, they make me feel like now I would be a big person in the first family.
You will be.
So
welcome
UPC
to you.
Was something also in Bugisu.
Malcolm Pamizo, welcome to the gang. And I
Thank
guess
you, Oscar.
Yes, you and Benjamin Katana here. We since UPC needs lawyers, or Joseph Ocheno needs lawyers, we have two in the house.
I've got very competent lawyers, by the way.
Having listened to his the challenges that he's facing, I might decline. I think they are insurmountable.
Pardon, let Lydia represent him.
No, conflict of interest. I'm conflicted already.
I think that Lydia's position Lydia is better placed to solve his problems because of the access that she has. And
no. I'm so conflicted now.
Let's go to PFF. Harold Kaija. So, in some ways you have a candidate in General Muntu. Is that correct?
Apparently, halfway correct.
Halfway correct.
Yeah, because
so you get a lower end tick.
It can't be. As of now, we are working closely with two candidates. Or with two parties. That is the National Unity Platform and the ANT. Been working together trying to see how we eventually get to one candidate. There are teams that are working around the clock to see to it that we move in the same direction. And I believe as our team, we're also sitting to make sure that we facilitate. One of the reasons as to why we never had a candidate, because we say that since three of us are talking, it would make it easier. We said, let's make it easier for our colleagues that we do not field, so that the two can sit together and decide who we can ask all our supporters to write together. As you heard Mr. Mao calling us toxic, if you're becoming an enemy of the state and also become an enemy of yourselves, then it becomes easier for the state to crush you. But when eventually galvanize your troops, it is easier to put up a solid defense and be able to stand tall and fight. So that's the reason as why we are there. The teams are progressing. I must tell you, Ugandans, in those meetings, there are those who are proposing that the nature of the dictator we are facing, possibly fielding two candidates who coordinate in their movements would be okay. And there's another thought that said, no, let's all put our troops together and have a single candidate. So it's that we are trying to make sure that we make a decision and eventually hit the road running, so that we form our support base on how we are going to move. But I can inform Ugandans that we are seeing some kind of progress.
Well, interestingly, this is the first time I've had a PFF member say that they are working with NUP, because what we see on the ground doesn't seem like that. In fact, NUP is fielding candidates against you, starting with the Lord Mayor.
Yeah, apparently in our talks, I think the speed has been a little. We have been having baby steps towards that direction. Since 2011, there are many projects we've worked together with NUP. You remember when we were demonstrating about the potholes in Kampala? That project worked together. There was a time when we decided to pray for this nation, and we met at Sharing. We were together. There was a time we were prayers for Dr. Besigye. They were at NUP. You saw the joint press conference with of the opposition in Parliament. So we've had people think those were accidents. They were never accidents. Those were designs. Of course, we decided that most of what we are doing remained in the boardrooms, because you people in the media, the moment you get just a line, it can really cause a problem in those kind of discussions. But you would see what you're saying. Possibly some of the support base may not really appreciate what we are doing, but there is some work we are doing. The Katanas have visited Katonga. We've been at Kavule. You've seen us together in courts. You've seen us together speaking for the prisoners. It is not by accident. Right. It is by design.
And the accusation, because you had initially wanted to field the Lord Mayor Lukwago, but all of you have been waiting and waiting and waiting for Dr. Kizza Besigye, and now Dr. Kizza Besigye was not nominated in prison and is still not out of prison. Are you having to reform, to
of
think
course,
again?
That has always been a propaganda moving around. At least I sit in every meeting or every kind of branch of every decision making spheres in our parties. So at any moment, I've never had a decision that we are floating the roadmap. If we had, would see us running around to do it. Though, those who were looking at the PFF to see what they do, they were thinking about many people. And I will even tell you, you'll be surprised at who had actually even thought that if we are to field a candidate. You remember when Dr. Besigye was arrested in Nairobi, there were people who said, no, he's not arrested. He has gotten people to put him in and raise his profile. Eventually, along the way, they kept waiting until when they realized the man is not going to be nominated. When the Lord Mayor was not pinning up posters for Lord Mayor, possibly he's planning to contest for president. The other thought about Semuju, the other thought about Salam Musomba. So all those that were raising the names wanted us to come out and say, no, the name we are putting forward is not the right name. The right name is so and so. But we had never at any one time, because Dr. Besigye, Dr. Besigye had advised that, actually joining this race at the time where the dictator is subversive to our struggle. It is even the reason why he stopped contesting. He said, when you contest, those who are opposition and support another opposition candidate, do not listen to what you say. So we said that, but if you pull a little back, now you can, if you can go and check the records in these nominations, PFF was helping other opposition candidates to even get signatures who have structures. But if you had fielded the candidate, you would work towards making sure a colleague does not nominate. Yeah. So we said, no, let's get away of seeing that we facilitate this process, because Uganda needs change like yesterday.
But Harold Kaija, your FDC, for them they fielded their candidate.
It's not my FDC.
It was
No, it's not.
It is your FDC.
No, it's not. It's not mine.
You were there.
Yes, but former. Annex is annex. You don't, Oscar, you don't find your ex kissing and then you throw stones. Then that's considered to be an ex.
You still say an ex-wife. Ex-FDC.
I don't know.
Very interesting.
No,
they fielded on Bonandara.
Yes, they have.
And
we'll see how they move. But I want to tell you, you'll see how they move. And currently, and to make things and put it in the right context, now we're even in blocks. Yeah. They're in a different block. We're in a different block.
Mao block.
So they're in the Museveni block. Whose spokesperson is who spokesperson is Mao? Yes, Mao is the PR of the what of the block. Yes.
Mao is what?
The peg boy of the block.
but Harold Kaija, Mao will tell you that they have power. They are the ones with power. And
which part does he have?
Languishing on the streets.
Which part does he have? The only thing he can have is money, but not power.
Right.
And Mr. Museveni has said it so.
In this election, money is power.
No, let me tell you, because you do not know power. The day you know what power is, you never talk about money.
Yeah.
I know of a person in this establishment. Somebody was seated with him and asked for 50 million, gave it to him, and he said, "Do you know that I've never counted money?" So this guy came to me and said, "What did this guy mean?" I said, "When he was born, somebody was dealing with the bills. He has never bought a car. He doesn't buy clothes. But he has the power. He doesn't know how they count 10,000, 20,000. Doesn't know how to ask for change. He doesn't know how to negotiate. Doesn't know the price of fuel. But he has the power. So power is more than money. And actually, that's where most of our colleagues who cross over, thinking power is about money. When you see somebody buying you, it means what is buying is more valuable than the money is giving you. That's what people know. So the Maos have the money, can buy houses, can buy cars, but they do not have the power is to decide. Power is decision making. Okay. Can Mao make? He told us when he was joining that he had gone to procure a transition. 5 years down the road, he's only telling us a transition is in some boardroom where all of us are not known, where there are 5 people who go there. And eventually Mr. Museveni will come and say, no, why I have Mao. Actually, he said, the reason why I have Mao is the same reason as how I have the Kenas, how I deal with he gave a list of those people. They said, okay, it's about trying to sanitize, trying to reduce noise. But for them, they think they are shareholders who sit on the same table. No, as he said, they are peg balls. They are.
Let's go to NUP here, to Benjamin Katana. So your principal was elected, Benjamin, and it seems sorry, was nominated. I beg your pardon. Your principal was nominated, and then I don't know whether you ferried people or because there were huge crowds, and sometimes in Uganda, NUP accuses other parties when they have crowds that they ferried the crowds. So did you do the same?
Ferrying is a sin. You cannot hide it. It's an overt act, like my learned colleague here has mentioned. So it was very evident that the people who gathered at Kala grounds in Natete were an organic crowd of people who gathered from actually the previous evening, and some of them were picked up at night for being in that place and expressing their love and interest in our candidate's candidature. They endured the rain. And I also want to mention that unlike Lydia's people who were serving and fighting over Pirao in Kororo, for us, there was no Pirao, there was no ferrying of people, there was no... But why? Because our candidate is an embodiment of the future. And as opposed to the NRM candidate who represents the past, the future that the people of Uganda aspire to have, of equal opportunity, of inclusion. Kaija here was talking about people who dish money anyhow because they get that money through not legitimate means, because nobody gets money through legitimate means and throws it that way. And it's because of that we have deficiency of services in the country. So the attraction to our candidate, the enthusiasm you see around our candidates, I'm sure if you are following the events in Mbarara yesterday, almost a replica of what was in Natete, is simply an indication of how the country is gearing up for change. I must mention that
have a rally in Mbarara?
No, we were opening our regional offices in Mbarara. We procured land and put up some offices in Mbarara. So yesterday we were launching them. I must also mention that on the day of nominations that you talked about, most of our supporters were beaten and brutalized by soldiers. In fact, and many arrested. I at least know about 30 people who were picked up. When we were leaving the rally venue, I saw men in uniform, counter-terrorism, the Special Forces Command, alighting out of drones and descending on innocent people who were walking peacefully back to their homes. And they started beating them. And I'm sure you also saw the ridiculous...
But I didn't see that. I saw your principal coming into Lubowa very, very safely, guided by... There was a bit of confusion, but I saw he got in with 2 extra cars and he was able to give his remarks and he got out. Then I saw a procession with him on top of a car. It seemed all very peaceful.
Yeah, when we were leaving the rally venue.
Right.
But actually, even when we were going, the bystanders on the bypass who stood along the road, not in the road, to cheer him, were beaten by police, those particular ones. And I'm sure you also saw the ridiculous guidelines from police saying now you will not do processions. Yet the previous day we had seen the NRM people carry out processions across the city. Even a week prior to that, you had seen the Secretary General of NRM lead a procession from Chadondo to the offices of Electoral Commission in industrial area, clearly indicating that the NRM government is running our country on a mode of apartheid, that there are rules that govern some categories of people and rules that govern other categories of people. And that explains the enthusiasm you see of the people around our candidate, because they want to live in a country where there is fairness and justice.
So your party president is nominated. Are you going to put out a roadmap for the presidential campaign, or
yes,
or is that left to the Electoral Commission?
No. We submitted a draft,
right?
And other parties, I think, have also submitted the draft. There has been preliminary harmonization, and it is out. The roadmap is out. We'll be starting our campaigns from Jinja on Monday. That's where we're going to launch our manifesto from, and our initial campaigns will be in areas of Busoga. But I think the final roadmap after harmonization will be issued today by Electoral Commission. Yes.
Right. Before we get to Malcolm, let's start with another person, Lydia, whose principal was nominated as well. Well, yours was the first one to be nominated.
Yeah, it was
there was no rain on that day, and it went very smoothly.
Yes, first of all, I would like to congratulate His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, the NRM party flag bearer for the presidential elections, for having been successfully nominated on the first day, and he was also the first candidate. According to the Electoral Commission guidelines, it is first come, first serve. So we're lucky that we're able to be the first ones. It's first come, first serve.
You have made us laugh over that one.
Honestly.
All of us knew that he was coming first, and all the indications were that he would be received first. And he would be alone. I thought you were going to say that incumbent has to come first.
No, it is the rules of the Electoral Commission that first come, first serve.
Right.
And as the NRM party, we were able to book first, and we kept time. So on the first day, first thing in the morning, we had our candidate get nominated, following and observing the electoral laws and the Electoral Commission guidelines. And after that, we had a nomination rally that was at Kololo. I was there all through, so I'm able to give a correct account. That even from the organizers, we did not mobilize or ask for processions. We were very clear that find your way as invited to the nomination rally. And the 20 people also that were required at the nomination desk, they are the only ones that found themselves at Lubowa. So we were abiding by the rules of the Electoral Commission to the letter.
NRM members went to Kololo. They were fed. They had
the nominations were in Kololo. You see, Oscar. This election, it does not just fall. We know about it 5 years ahead of time. So we plan. We are a political party that sits down and plans on how we are going to run our term and how we are going to prepare ourselves. You've had us go through the struggle. You are here laughing at us. But we went through the struggles of the hard times of primaries. Now we are set to compete with other players because internally we are done. And we prepare for all these events. We had one nomination rally. It was in Nikololo. People were happy. You are saying people are fighting. No, that was excitement. If you see people eating and jumping up and down and dancing, that was excitement. I mean, why would you go to a nomination rally of your candidate, of a winning candidate actually, and then you look sad? That would be a very big contradiction. So whatever you saw in Kololo was a sign of we are getting there. We still have the numbers because politics is a game of numbers, and people came willingly and they were happy. I heard someone talking about fading people, but the mood in Kololo does not show that anybody was being faded. People came on their own volition. Whatever was there, I mean, we gave out campaign material. Even me, I was. If they wanted to come, what's the problem with that?
Only your microphone is on.
After school.
Speak to the audience.
What we did was to receive whoever was coming, and that we have campaign material. Even me, I was in my campaign attire because it's a campaign season. If you find me at a NRM meeting, I'll be in yellow without any doubt.
Yeah.
But my yellow does not mean the outside.
Sometimes even start in yellow from here.
Yeah, but today I'm going for burial. My brother, Honorable Kenneth Omona, lost her father. So from here, I'm going to find my way through a ferry or some stuff, and then I'll be in Kabira Maido. But I want to say that even on Monday, my colleagues have talked about the timetable. You've not asked me, but NRM is beginning with the launching of our manifesto. It will be in Munyonyo. So when we set out to go to the people or to go to the different venues, we shall have a tool to which we speak for. And that's why we call upon being issue-based campaign and focus, because we have a message that is well written, that is coherent, that speaks to where we are coming from and where we are going, and to be launched on Monday in Munyonyo. Then after Munyonyo, from Monday, that's when we can now move to the approved election calendar of
Munyonyo is a rally as well?
No, it's a big meeting.
It's a big meeting.
We are launching.
Those who are consolidating their gains.
We are launching the NRM manifesto 2026 to 2031, and because we are so organized, we want to tell everybody that is going to campaign for the NRM, even me, like here on radio, we must have a consistent, coherent, well thought out message and in form of a manifesto. Let people know it's a tool. It's going to be the main tool. People know. Even if I'm speaking from Arua, I'll have the same message with somebody speaking from Chisoro or Tororo. My neighbor here, he's speaking from Bukedi or Tororo, or myself in Mbale City, because I'm going to campaign mainly from Mbale, because I'm a candidate there. But my message should be the same, because we are under NRM, and NRM is campaigning as a team, is campaigning as an entity, is campaigning as a party. So Monday is so key, because we are launching what we are going to say to the people so that they can buy it, they analyze it, and then vote for us come January. Yes.
So, Malcolm, the politician.
And we shall share this manifesto with you, Oscar, and anybody in the public, so that you can also make it a debate, a center of debate, and see whether or not Wananchi will use it to vote for us.
I await to receive it.
Thank you. We're unveiling it on Monday.
You and I here in the studio are the ones who are seen like normal people. We have the
yes, so politics is it's madness. No, that is how this country has generated.
Being a politician in Uganda is an abnormality.
So we are the normal people here in the studio. And Lydia has said something that has quite frightened me, that they are going to have another large meeting in Munyonyo. You see, Lydia was here on 2 shows. We had the president, and for 10 years I campaigned for Chigo Road. 10 full years. Would come here, make noise, social media, let's tarmac Chigo Road, and eventually Chigo Road was tarmacked. And yes, and eventually Chigo Road was tarmacked.
Yes.
And now Tuesday and Wednesday we were locked out of our road. So when Lydia says they also have another meeting in Munyonyo,
you get worried.
I get worried. They will lock us out again.
We are launching the NRM manifesto in Munyonyo on Monday, beginning at midday. So if you, Oscar, if you don't want to see us going to Munyonyo, you live by 8. No, you can live at 8 because the function is at midday.
We've always requested.
Thank you for heads up.
We've always requested that some of these
if they tell us ahead
of time, declare it a public.
Saturday.
Work from home, and we make the adjustments. But
now people in Chigo know, so I will simplify it and say let's leave the village before midday
and come back much later. Yes.
So the question to you then: you saw the nominations. Is it 8 people nominated? Professor Mwambusia asked me that how come they already had 8 pickups, and was this pre-planned or whatever? and we don't have any women in presidential candidates. There is a lady who is very unhappy, Nancy Kalembe. So what way forward?
I do agree with Lydia that the election is a process. It's not an event in itself. It is a process. And it is the product that comes at the end of that process would only be as good as the process actually was. So if you look back and you see how the electoral processes have unfolded, then you wouldn't be surprised that there is no woman that is running. You wouldn't be surprised that people are excited at Kololo as they're eating pilau. I honestly thought, watching some of those videos, that was a very undignifying way to be excited, because I think it simply portrayed how low our fellow Ugandans have sunk in. Basically, the food was the excitement. It wasn't even the message. Let's be honest. It wasn't the message. It wasn't the event. It was the food, the water, the goodies. Those that had. You also saw some videos of people fighting over certain bags, black bags that had. We never saw the contents of the bags, but people began to speculate what was in there.
I can tell you everything. I'm here.
What was in the bags, Lydia?
There was.
I apologize for putting you on the spot. But those
sometimes we forget that you're a lawyer, and you set someone up very quickly. But you're like this is quite frightening. What you're alleging, you've gone to Maslow's hierarchy.
Yes,
and you're saying we are at the food level.
No, and yes, we are, but it's not. It is by design. It is by design, because when you keep people at that level, they are manageable. When the NRM party primary for presidential election has only one form for a flag bearer, that is a statement. When the incumbent decides that on this particular day they are going to get nominated, and no one else is going to take the rest of that away from them. And Lydia rightfully says that they might have booked this
whole day
5 years ago. I do not know when they booked, but I think what is very clear.
The Electoral Commission announced the dates for presidential nominations, and our team booked when we wanted our candidate to go for nominations. Like we did book the day when we were taking. Okay, if you want, maybe the language is notice. We also did the same when we were taking nomination forms. We were able to alert.
Sometimes it's not about what is, but
okay,
it's
maybe
about
I should
what it
improve
looks like.
The English.
What it looks like. We all know
But you said it's a process, and I agreed with Lydia that if it's a process,
you guys just
plan.
seem like you want to happen.
No, the planning has to happen.
Yeah.
We were some reports indicating that 24th had also been booked by the NUP and actually approved for the NUP, and then it was reversed. So that then you begin to question who had approved and why the reversal came. But my point is the power of incumbency has always dominated these elections,
and you would add unsurprisingly.
No, I think the ways continue to surprise, because the way in which there has been a systematic weakening of the opposition, of the securitization of the elections, the militarization of politics, all of those things, again, as part of the process that leads up to the actual election day, all of those things begin to portray. When you have partisan government institutions, when you have billions being given out to different groups, particularly around that time, there is no money for hospitals, there is no money for teachers, but there is a certain 12 billion that can go to border cyclists at the time when nomination is coming through. So some of these things might look like it is part of the program of government, but they inevitably portray a certain power dynamic that the incumbency has. When you look at the women not being among the presidential candidates eventually, I think it's when you look at it at a micro level, you're probably thinking, what could the Electoral Commission have done better? And you certainly have to fault them when you have candidates, potential candidates, picking their nomination forms months before, and they're only receiving responses days to the actual nomination. And again, it is a process. So where is the Electoral Commission in this? Why does it? And this happens almost at every election. Why not have the forms ready 6 months in advance? If time is always an issue, for the signatures have to be verified. You can't be verifying signatures 2 weeks to nomination day or the night before, and then you expect, and you actually come back and offer.
Well, the venue was ready a week ago, so.
But and that's what makes you think that when there are eight candidates, you begin to speculate around that. But I think also broadly it speaks about how we have lost some of the gains, again, that we are trying to protect. We have lost some of the gains that we might have received as a country. There was a time, Oscar, when women in political positions, Uganda was being hailed for having women in high levels of political position. Today, it is not exactly the same. Then it was even being said it might have been patronage, it might have been ticking a box, just trying to get women there. To see a country that has provided for women members of parliament specifically for over 25 years, and then you come and there's no female presidential candidate, we must be embarrassed. We must question what we are doing, whether the women who are in politics are mentoring other women to be able to come through, whether whether those who have succeeded in politics have done enough to be able to claim those top positions, but also to question our internal party democracy, because in many of the instances, you have many, again, not all, but many appointments. Sometimes elections, but mad with all sorts of issues. But many times it's appointments, and the women have not been given an opportunity to be able to be at the forefront.
Yes, the appointments, the vice president, prime minister, I know. But Joseph, I think Malcolm makes light of incumbency. If you look at the US now, President Trump is creating extra constituencies, like in Texas. So incumbency is very, very powerful. You wonder how, was it a Malawian opposition leader, the former president, was able to break through and become president again? But it's not easy. The only other country that I know that maybe Kenya and Ghana,
Senegal.
And Senegal as well.
Oscar, my brother Barack Obama shouted loudly at the AU headquarters about Africa and institutions. That is the mad thing that we need. Trump is one of the biggest global tragedies, because America would normally have been a very good example. But I'm also relatively lucky that I'm reasonably traveled. Amidst the badness of whatever's happening in Britain, including today, substantially British polity really guided and trained me. Some of the mess that we're seeing in America would not happen in Britain, nor would it happen in most of the Scandinavian democracies. Possibly away from France, possibly not even in Germany. But here we're talking Europe, and you're talking about Africa. This power of incumbency, I've been telling many people actually in the last few days, that really politics of perception, including our friends in NRA, the nonsense of subjecting the EC to going through 2 million signatures. In normal democracies with the civically conscious electorate, it would be a minus for them. because it would be patronizing, it would be time wasting under the Electoral Commission, including Bwana Chairman Simon, your lordship. You should really be pushing a threshold, and in any case, perhaps you shouldn't be accepting this. So if the minimum they need is 100,000 on average, why not put 200 to the extreme? Why make it 2 million? What message are you trying to convey? Are you using the Electoral Commission system to campaign, to blackmail the citizens? Now, somebody told me something very persuasive about this women in politics.
It's a signatures plus the 20 million.
In a way, yes. But the 20 million is also another. I was trying to 2 million signatures plus then the 20 million. Because you're right also. About the 20 million, I've actually suggested elsewhere, Oscar, and maybe one of the reviews we should do post-election going forward is whether or not 20 million is the right amount of money for nominations. A future UPC government would review this, including the issue of using public money is basically to pay patronage, including giving money to political parties.
Like you say,
but I was telling a media network in Southern Africa on this thing about women in politics, and they're suggesting to me, I think we're discussing Malawi, whether or not Africa is not ready. Britain had Thatcher, and this presenter was quite persuasive. He suggested that because the Queen was the cultural head of Britain, these guys were much more softened. Possibly that, but I totally agree with the argument which has just been made. There is really no reason why, as of today, we should actually not be having a woman president already. One of my biggest challenges, and it was one of my objections, except that I was not saying it in the introduction, that apart from UPC not being in the card, I was extremely disappointed that this time around we do not have a female candidate. I'm one of those people who for the last 25, nearly 30 years, surprise, surprise, has been campaigning for mainstreaming of youth and women in political parties and processes, including our constitution. I happen also to have...
They're mainstream. You have a women's position at every constituency. We have a former leader of women in a ruling party in the studio today. So, yes.
Having people in particular positions of allotments is not the thing. It is really whether or not... these people have got power, as has been suggested. Cecilia Gual had power in 1991 when she was effectively the first female leader of a party in this country. Mama Miriam had power when she was the president of the first independence political party on the African continent. How that was used was neither here nor there. We want women who are able to move from a PM actor and dish server to a PM who's powerful like Otemeli Madi, from a speaker who can influence and be a guiding person. I'm not saying my sister Annette is not. But what he's saying is that women should be able to move and reach positions, move and do positions where they can preside. There's no reason why we shouldn't have a woman present here. Now, of the many women candidates, I saw something doing the rounds, Oscar, and one of the female candidates suggested to me that they may have been asked for money. And I was quite surprised, and I thought I would use your media as the second time to say that if that's true, this is something that should be investigated. But that's one of the reasons why I'm saying that maybe this threshold of money, 20 billion, is possibly too much money. But number two, the signatures of 2/3 is substantially unreasonable. When this thing was being done at the CA level, we had 40 districts. Now we have 40 times 4. So administratively itself is just not a good thing. Me as Ocheno, I can get signatures overnight because we've got structures and systems as political parties. And finally, maybe the signature things and some of these requirements should be confined to political parties rather than people who are standing as independents. But as political party leaders, it is really urgently our job to review and look into our eyes and say, why are women and young people not constructively engaging? Because those are the future of this continent. Those are the future of this country.
Let's stop for a quick break. Welcome back from the break. This is the Capital Gang. Harold Kaija, you're on microphone. Yes. The last time we had a leader of opposition that was female was with your FDC party.
Yes, both women.
Yes, but even then, that female LOP was appointed.
Yeah, true.
Yes. So what does that tell us about women in a very powerful position? The one for the Speaker of Parliament, that one was contested between two women. It was a hot election, and one of them won.
No, but she has told you that it's the big man who supported me all through.
Yeah, but even the other one was supported by the big man all through. So neither can complain that they were.
You know, one time I was speaking to Yoga Dollar. I think he told me something I never thought about. For the last 40 years, Mr. Museveni, I won't say NRM, has not constructed even a single nursery school for women.
I think you're being unfair. Lydia here Lydia was the Lydia. What was the position? National in NRM. They've been nursing nurseries.
Major John Kazora, one of my mentors who died recently, in his famous book, Betrayed by My Leader, he wrote that one time they were in the Akure parliamentary group and Mr. Museveni was addressing it in Rwachitura. And he raised the question, why don't you actually delegate your vice president? Then that was Dr. Speciosa Kazwe. Said, you think she's vice president? No. I appointed her. He said, actually, you don't know politics. I appointed her to use one stone and kill 3 birds. The first bird was the women. That I wanted the Matembes to say, he said, Matembes, say, one of us is vice president. He said, you see, the Catholics are many. I wanted the Catholics to say one of us is in there. And the Basoga to say one of us is in there. And you remember, you were in the media, how she was removed from the position. She, in the morning, she was seated with her team to prepare for the week. Only to be called at 11 by her boss, that you know what, to resign. I said, why resign? And I said, and now? He said, no, let me go and prepare my resignation. He said, no, it is already prepared for you. Actually, the monitor wrote that when they're interviewing her, after reading out the resignation letter, they wanted to ask her questions. She said, I am tired. So the monitor wrote, because we're tired, that was the question mark. If you read the book of Matembe, I don't know, I always forget that brown book. And you see...
She has many these days.
That famous one that talks, politics betrayal, again, it also has a word betrayal in it. She tells you of how Mr. Museveni looks at women. There was a scandal there was an issue in Parliament that involved one of them, and Mr. Museveni invited all the women, and he was using derogatory language, and all of them left crying. So there is no deliberate move to empower women, who are actually the majority. I am contesting for MP in Nansana. I've been speaking to women, trying to encourage them. You say, women, today if you go to church, the majority are women. If you go to schools, VDs, the majority are women. If you go for... Actually, I've told them that what you have not done is to go and bury, to put the body down there. Possibly you're about to get there. But there is I don't know if somebody is scared of them, not to empower them.
But Harold Kaija, the Vice President of Uganda is at the UN.
What does she do?
Delegated. She's already given a good speech, commended for her speech. So the delegation happens.
Let's go to Kamocha right there in the market.
Start with the UN.
No, let's go right there in Kamocha in the market and ask the people in Kamocha market, who is the Vice President of Uganda?
People in Kamocha market are not...
No! A Vice President is number 2.
But maybe
somewhere
been delegating her.
Yes, and you have seen it,
and she's also female.
Yes,
but Oscar, I think that what I get from what the point that Harold is trying to make is that for a long time it was tokenistic, and the roosters are the hens are coming home to roost now. Because it looked for several years like, women are at the forefront, we are presenting them. But now that has become more about money. There's been a lot of consolidation already that has been done. So maybe that women vote is not as being quoted as much as it once was. Now, actually, the reality is that there are very few women that actually have their roots in the communities, in the political parties, are they able to actually take positions?
I spoke to the late James Mwanda, Honorable James Mwanda, who actually brought the affirmative vote seats in the parliament. That was 1989. That when he was negotiating for the PWDs, said, no, you guys, you cannot sit on this table without us. They had actually rejected. When they were about it, they said, now we can even bring in some groups. They said women, now they said youth, they said other. Because, I've been asking people that for me, I would actually not go for those now Sijui elders. Let me tell you, I have a constituency of 700 people, and I feel it's big. What does a young person of 25 years and is female, how can she manage for a country our size as this MP? And you say one youth is the MP for the whole of Buganda. Actually, those who are seats preserved, Mr. Museveni had wanted that in every election, he's able to have numbers before others get the numbers. Have 5 youth, because nobody, no young person who is in opposition can win those seats. I actually discourage most of our boys. I say, do you have the money? Do you have the infrastructure to do that? Even if you had, they will crash it because they actually managed by ISO. Youth elections, elders, and that. So he has 5 women.
You wouldn't agree that's incumbency? Because if you became president, you probably would.
No, let me tell you, if you want justice in this country, there's some of those, what they call affirmative, which are meant to help Mr. Museveni have the numbers in parliament. We must scrap them. We shall reason with the youth, reason with the elders, reason with the military. Tell you guys, if you want justice, let's pack you. Let's all come and compete. There is a person who actually votes about 4 MPs. If somebody is a female, she votes a constituency MP, she votes a youth MP, she votes a female youth MP, she votes if she's a worker, she also votes a workers MP. So you find one person in parliament has about 5 MPs. That can't work, and that shouldn't be. So this whole thing of women, Mr. Museveni wanted to use them, say that I'm actually supporting you, only to get support in parliament. We only now, we only just get a few in some districts which are urban, where those people are a little emancipated. But remember, when they first started them, they were only using LC committees. Those would be easily bought. But so, this issue of women, I feel saddened. And I think I was the first to write about it. Say, we are going to have a ballot paper without any independent, without women. And I think they didn't see it coming. Because
the independents are there.
Actually.
No independent. None.
There.
No, who is that independent? The old party flag bearers. None.
So Nderea says on X, formerly Twitter, there's nothing wrong with not having a female candidate. Those feigning disappointment were not going to vote for her anyway. Unless it is established that the women were systematically and unfairly weeded out, I see no problem at all. Let's go to the current chair of the NRM Women's League, Lydia Wanyoto Mutende. You have nurtured women. You are the current chair.
I'm not the current chair.
Your time hasn't expired.
The people with a lot of money came and threw them out.
Like I said earlier, politics is a process. And I want us to be also realistic. You don't want to begin debating post-mortem things. This debate should have come 2-3 weeks before the nomination of the presidential. So that we can also begin saying, what type of presidents does Uganda deserve? Then we debate, and as they come for nominations, people have an idea of whom do you want this time around and which women do you want. But you cannot begin.
We didn't know then.
But if people don't know you 2 years, 1 year to election, really, I am being honest.
Right.
I'm being honest. I'm being very honest. Because like for us in the NRM party, laugh at us or not, we're able to take a decision. The president will be the candidate again and build that consensus. Yeah, that has been there and it has not changed. So You cannot tell us in NRM that we are. Listen, I'm done talking. I cannot come to this show now and begin telling you that, oh, in NRM would have had a woman. Surely. I mean, we should also be fair to ourselves. Which political party that prepared the woman? For you, NUP, we all knew they have Chagulani. I would be surprised if they had another woman somewhere in an unpit so that we'd be saying, oh, she are not supported. I've met Nancy Kalemba and the other lady called Mpambara, and I told them, you guys, let me tell you, okay, I might be wrong, but where I sit in the NRM political party, the intentions are made earlier so that the public get these are public offices. You cannot be somewhere and then you go quietly to the commission and then your nominations are not enough. Then after.
There's a reason, Lydia, why the nominations come so close to the date.
No, my debate is on the public expectations.
I understand that from a party perspective.
No, for me,
it is possible.
Not even the party. I'm talking about from the public expectations. Are people lamenting there was no woman? You just want to make us a laughing stock? Because if you really want women to participate in the presidential elections, let's make it a case to profile them. So that they fit the bill. For anybody, I've not been discussing this matter, but I'm thinking like, okay, if you're really ready for a woman president or candidate, let's make it a case before, not to do post-mortem. Let's do it before to say we have elections. The elections of 2026 were known. Oscar, we need to fix this date. It has been known 5 years before. So why don't we say, look, Malcolm's sister or the wife, well, she's this, she has been this. Then the debate starts. When she goes to pick nomination,
start burying.
Please don't put ideas in my wife's head. but so that when, I still take issue with that.
No. Let me say the way politics is in Uganda.
Good example. Malcolm's wife is my classmate. Is a potential presidential candidate.
Yeah. so that when Mrs. Malcolm moves to pick nomination, there is something to say, look, I think she fits the bill. Remember, she's got, brand names or names are in politics space. I'm a politician. You cannot come today. You see, Malcolm, that is our space, the radar. In our law profession, you're not even supposed to advertise. That's one you know. But in politics, we advertise. The whole country from Kisoro to Arua, they know about Wanyoto in NRM. So when I come up to contest, they will know whether I win or not. That's the issue. But for you to begin telling us, we must. Let me conclude. We must. If it is politics, please prepare leaders, prepare brand names.
Agreed 100%.
Do not come here to lament.
Agreed 100%.
When everybody in my NRM party, we did not prepare or even brand a female candidate.
You did not prepare any other candidate.
So why do you want me to come here and lament that? But
I don't think the lamentation is really is only about this particular election. I think it's about women's participation generally. The level of you talk about going to barrios. I know of an MP who. I gave a lift.
They'll give you my time because you've taken my time.
I was living.
No, I hadn't. Malcolm just grabbed the microphone.
I was living
because I'm talking about his wife.
You invited him.
I was traveling back to Kampala, and an MP asked me to wait for them, and said, "Tonight I must leave this place. I've been here for a week." Attending burials. At every burial, it is 500,000. At every wedding, it is 200,000. At every baptism, that is expensive. Yeah. So now,
some people may argue was giving little.
And yet, actually, even on our way back, he told me a story when he had gone to a church and he was prepared to give 500,000. It's what he had come with on him, and he felt he was giving a decent amount of money. And then when other people started speaking, and how much they were giving, the man added another zero on his. but when politics has become that expensive, and we unless again we're saying that independence shouldn't have a space, but when it becomes that expensive, and especially for women, then it becomes a challenge.
Lydia conclude and we go to Benjamin.
So I want to agree that politics is very expensive right now. Before there has been an issue of commercialization, but now it has gone overboard. I mean, people talk about the bidders. I've been observing in our party we have youth structures, youth elections. We've been having youth campaigns for youth leaders of the NRM party. We've been having youth. I'm giving an issue of youth because of money, and I do the parallels because if it is me, you'd say you've worked, you have some money, which I did because I was also overrun. But the issue is youth. Maybe because of relatives or family, but we had youth elections structures and then youth flag bearers. Right now we have elections that are going on for youth council. You can go and cross-check. They have their meetings in zonal caucuses for the delegates. And if you don't have 1 million, you cannot address 1,500,000. These are youth. So either they have sponsors or I don't understand that myself, which means that there's a systematic arrangement even to disenfranchise young people who may want to participate, because youth is the bedrock of growing leaders. But if you are cut off from that level because of money, when shall we ever grow youth? I'm just giving an example because for me, I'm no longer youth. The man has caught up with me at an early age, and that speaks to either impunity or even corruption. Because if you are spending 10, 15 or 30 billion in an election, what are you buying? That should be the question.
Okay.
What are you buying in the political office? And then you are saying you're going to fight corruption? That's a big contradiction. That's a big lie. Because somebody may want to recoup that money.
It's a big challenge.
It is such a common sense thing that nobody is. So when you come to women, even then, political parties, Oscar, in Uganda, for the last 5 years, did not prepare women to be presidential candidates. Let's be honest. And also for independence, it's very difficult for an independent woman to marshal surmountable resources to run a presidential. So technically, you are knocked out from the process, and then we should not. Maybe we should start campaigning for the women to be in the election in the 30-31. But this one is gone. Presidential nominations are closed. And now we're talking about the next campaign, and nominations for MPs is from 22nd.
Not that kind to women. We know that your party is a very macho party. The most maybe outstanding woman in your party is the wife of the principal. So we've not seen NUP presenting women and nurturing women and getting women. I know of one, Honorable Namuga, who...
You can see how you have started contradicting yourself.
One.
I think, Oscar, you ought to...
The NUP lawyer is suffering. She came and lamented. Yes,
I think, Oscar,
she lamented against men and... Not against the party, but
you ought to apologize to
inform me so that I apologize
for misrepresentation, because
I gave examples. I said I
selectively. Even if you started from the apex of the leadership of the party, we have 4 deputy presidents. 2 are female, 2 are male. So even if you just started from that point, and so there are so many. First of all, NUP is a party of inclusion, the gender, the age, all aspects. It is a party of equal opportunity, and we do not discriminate people on the basis of gender or otherwise. But the debate about the absence of a female presidential candidate, I think my sister Lydia here, my big sister Lydia here, is missing the context. I think the context is not about all the question is, for all these programs that we have had intended to achieve emancipation of women, after all these years, why are we unable to have someone confident enough to offer themselves to run? Or even when we have those that are confident enough, what are the hurdles that are stopping them from making it to the ballot paper? And I think the answer is very simple, that the Lydia's government of Museveni and NRM generally captured the march of emancipation of women, politicized it, And instead of supporting it to grow, it replaced it with clientelism and tokenism. And the beneficiaries, the clients of this clientele patronage system that Museveni runs, instead of focusing on empowering younger people to come up for leadership, they concentrated on worshipping and praising this one person who is responsible for their appointment, deployment, and things of that nature. And then the over-politicization of the program. Because I think this debate should not be restricted to having a presidential candidate who is female. The question should be, for example, if you looked at the taxpayer database, which women in the last 10 years or 20 years have made it to the top in terms of tax payments, because that would mean that there has been growth in business. If we are looking at leadership in other aspects, how many have made it to that? So I think the efforts of our country should be multiplied, not just appointments. Appointments are important, but the message of equality needs to be hammered at every aspect, at every stage. The message of inclusion, that right from childhood to property inheritance, because you see, people have talked about money. If you look at the sources of wealth, one of them is inheritance. But if women are disadvantaged at the point of property inheritance, they are going to have a problem. You look at the labor market, there are people who still disadvantage women in the labor industry. You find that people are comfortable because someone is going to ask for maternity leave, to ask for what. So in terms of promotions and placement, they disadvantage women. By implication, it means that they will not be able to grow in that field, earn enough money that will be used to do all these kinds of things. But I think it shouldn't also be looked at in isolation. I think it is the politics of the country generally, that the politics of the country now is largely reduced to money, and the many examples have been given here of how people have to spend 1 billion shillings to be elected to parliament. Quite ridiculous. The other aspect that disadvantages women in this process and other what you'd call people that have been victims of historical injustices, PWDs, children and things of that nature, the violence in our politics. I was talking to one of our candidates in Eastern region, and she was telling me that when she was identifying ladies to run as councillors, the biggest challenge she faced was women were being discouraged by their spouses from running because they are worried that there is going to be violence in the elections, and they would not want their wives to be in NUP colors, being beaten and arrested by police. And I think we have also had cases of... I
had a discussion with that in a week.
Yes.
With a woman, and she was telling me, well, women should also be allowed to vet the husband. When, you know, your wife, Katana, should be allowed to vet you.
And I
because you are going to use family resources.
And I agree with you. But because of the...
That was Nora Waragash.
Yes, and I agree with you. But because of this monster patriarchy that we need to also confront, that the power relations in most of the families disadvantage women. And even when they are not comfortable with the husband going into politics, they just tag along. The man has decided to go into politics, they tag along, which does not apply to women. Most times, it's wrong, it should be condemned, and we should focus on challenging it. Because some of these things that disadvantage women participation in politics are in our homes. They start from our homes. The way we groom the children in schools, in communities, by showing them that this is their role, that is the role for men. So you end up with attitude challenges. Even when people have got the opportunity to go to school and get qualifications, there are some areas they think, this one, I will not manage to go and fight with these men. Yes.
But you NUP did not field a female candidate for presidential.
Nobody showed interest.
You see?
They have two deputies.
So is it the fault of NRM?
Nora
because you are faulting
Oraga
NRM.
tells you, please tell the gangsters not to infantilize women. We, the women who qualify to be presidential candidates, made an informed decision not to contest. If we wanted to contest, we would have done that. She continues, there are many countries where incumbents have been ousted. But really, how do you expect the opposition in Uganda to oust the incumbent when the opposition itself cannot agree intra-party and so on?
But who says we don't agree?
Then, well, said well, there are blocks now. Then Kwangu Jonachaze on X formerly Twitter says, tell Harold that the women in Kamocha may not know who the VP is, just like Deputy Speaker male, but they know who the Prime Minister is, just like the Speaker. It's a journey, but women have been empowered. So let's have a quick break. So we'll come back from the break. Harold Kaija, you start off the last bit. So with a lot of people knowing that incumbency is so powerful in Uganda, you have, is it 5 Baganda people wish to be presidents? And someone texted me yesterday and said, is this a joke or what?
So you say, yeah, that's the number.
You had not thought about it?
No, you see, sometimes these are people I know. I think it's only one guy I don't know. The one called Kasibante. That's the guy I don't know.
It is so rare for you to be
I have heard on some
careful.
radios that he was working with you guys. Is this CGPDM, blah, 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 that kind of stuff. And he's in one of the most controversial party. When he was nominating, the party president was at Kororo dancing. And in the name of Wahia Sijui working, but also encouraging those who are there to vote for a candidate who is different from her own candidate, and very weird.
His own,
So
he managed to collect all those signatures as he was
no,
dancing
you see,
at Kolo.
no, but for us who have been following this issue of signatures, it is very scientific. They decide who actually should come and follow. There are those who they design that a particular candidate must not be at the top of the ballot paper. That's why you'd see Honorable Chagulanyi would be somewhere, but there is somebody who must be at the top. All the time Dr. Besigye was contesting, was a person who would always get signatures to be number one. But you never have another person to be the last on the ballot paper. It is a preserve of Mr. Yoweri. Now he's Yoweri Museveni. There was a time when he was Tibuhabura, but now I saw what I saw in the EC. He's now Yoweri Museveni.
He's not Museveni.
Yoweri Museveni.
Where did the other name go?
We now don't know. He will be Yoweri Museveni. Actually, I was proposing, colleague, that if we got a Zikusoka Ziwa, so that one will never get signatures. If you got a Zikusoka Ziwa to come and contest, would never get signatures.
Because?
They will kidnap the guy and eventually be sorted, because they always want Mr. Museveni on the ballot paper to be at the bottom. That's why if I went with a cape, a white cape, they wouldn't nominate, they wouldn't allow my photo. But Mr. They say, you just look for the man with the hat who's putting on white. When the councillors were nominating, they were even told to go and change.
But Harold,
yes?
Is that a bad strategy?
No, but you see, no, yeah,
you are also allowed to think about it.
I'm asking, that's what we are talking about, incumbency. You see, the incumbency in this country was designed from the CA. Now we are dealing with a person who has appointed the EC, who has appointed the police. If you get aggrieved and you will go to court, who has courts, the whole DISO, PISO, and everybody is working for one man, not for the president.
And my argument is probably that's the same in Malawi. And the opposition one?
No, it's not the same in Malawi. By the way, they've actually worked around the clock. That's why you saw the outgoing president was in opposition, came and won, and could not And you know what he was crying, saying, some forces have actually influenced the prices of energy and power and led to blackouts. That's why I'm losing. It can't be here.
And he actually also won from opposition.
It's true. So this country, the constitution of this country, I call it a fitting of Mr. Museveni. When his weight, when he increases weight, they try to expand and amend somewhere. When he slims, they reduce a little. So he moves with a tailor. I've been seeing on TV, on NTV, they're trying to serialize the 30 years of our constitution. I think I was about to call the editor. I say, editor, 30 years of which constitution? If brought the copy of the 1995 constitution and have the one that we have today, they are purely different. These are lawyers will tell you pure different constitutions. So there's nothing we're actually really talking about. So when you see those you saw on the ballot, we are yet to see 3 weeks in an election, you'll see if somebody is serious or somebody is playing around. As they were saying that the women we are not ready. Possibly, you see, in this country, politics is people look at it as a joke. They don't take it really serious. People don't really think about it because, like, when you looked at the dailies the next day, you really not see the discussion on policy.
Oh, well,
I saw a guy in the gumboots wanting to become president.
Yeah.
I saw a guy in gumboots. I saw a comedian who has a wife called Nakato.
The politicians of today are the ones who've taken ideology out of a discussion. Now we talk money.
Yes, but you see, it has been designed by the incumbent. In serious countries, it wouldn't be a problem if I met Mr. Museveni and spoke to him. But now here it is. Why? When he meets you, before he meets you, they profile you. And you know what they profile? Your problems. Where your kids go to school, if you've paid all their sale at home, do you have a loan? Yes. All of the meeting, that's why whenever he said there was an iPod meeting that after Dr. Besigye was arrested in 2016. Do you know that 4 of the people who went there came back with jobs? Everybody was crying. You see, I have an issue. You've heard him say that when MPs come to me, they talk about their loans, their kids don't go to school, and that's how he has designed it. That and one of the people, his handlers, when they were organizing that iPod, he was advising guys, go get serious when you go to such meetings. That it will be drill to take your. Hey, you're from Kawempe. Hey, you know Kawempe, there's that hospital. Sir, you see that hospital has issues. Now I have a kid who is sick, who needs an operation. He calls Nakarima.
So Oscar is right.
No, it's not our fault. The person who is at the top
is when I, mooted Chigoro that said we have been fighting.
Yes,
and then now it happened.
No, he has designed it that way. You look at the quiet of his advisors. You look at the quiet of his ministers. You would ask, we have been with when I sit on this home, I always follow here. I listen to Wanyoto, and then you say, doesn't Wanyoto qualify to be minister? I said, possibly she doesn't qualify to be minister in NRM. They say she's good or she could be questioning.
But the job she's been doing has been very powerful.
Which job is that?
NRM league.
Such a job.
She has told you. It's no job. So,
Benjamin.
Yes.
Thank you.
So the people who should be in that cabinet are outside the cabinet. The people who should be advisors are actually languishing somewhere else. Now they tell you, see, this woman who was beaten the other day is an advisor. You see, this
was beaten from Chiba.
Yes. So now they tell you, let us stand up and welcome the advisor. Look at the advisor. You wait for wisdom and you find zero wisdom. But we are paying the person 20 million, 15, and the like. It has been designed by him.
The president
and actually, he never takes this country seriously.
Thank you.
If he took this country seriously, possibly even that bad paper would look different. Because when they see him, the way he makes, you look at my vice president or that.
The Samuel Kaduli saying I should give you no marks as a teacher because Kaija answering your question about the Baganda dominating the nomination? and I agree with you.
He's a
Kaduli.
journalist.
I would give him 2 out of 10. So Benjamin Katana, your principal is a Muganda, and I think he's in recent times he's the one who has been able to run a competition against President Museveni. It hasn't happened previously. The Baganda who tried were not very good, were in terms of competing with President Museveni.
And now they are
our candidate is a national candidate.
Go to the microphone.
Our candidate is a national candidate. It is true that he's a Muganda by tribe, and he's a Ugandan by thinking, by actions, and by everything that he does.
Sometimes even we wonder what you're doing there. So, but
yeah, because of the NRM mentality of politics of identity, which we despise in NUP. Yeah, so and that's part of what I was explaining, that his outlook and our outlook is nationalistic, not tribalistic. But of course, the debate about there seems to have been, if you followed the debate in 2021, the NRM political machinery convinced itself that our candidate was supported on tribal grounds, and they forgot that their candidate was getting 100% at polling stations in Chirupura. Nobody had fallen sick on that day. Nobody had died. Yeah, so there
since the register was compiled.
Yes, there are about 3 things that they have focused on in the last 5 years or so to disadvantage our president and now candidate. They have focused on Uganda. They have been moving around giving empty promises to people that they are going to give this circle 30 billion, but we know that NRM has been a party of lies. Even those lies are not going to be followed through. They have focused on musicians. You know, in every budget now, there is money for musicians association. And the intention is to make sure that they isolate him because of his background in music. They isolate him. They have tried to create all sorts of associations around the music industry to make sure that they disadvantage him. But they forget that what sets him apart is not the fact that he's a singer, but what is his music and character about. Because his music throughout his career has been about social justice. And I think that's why it resonated with people that are largely disadvantaged in the economic matrix of Uganda. You saw even here, they tried to bring up people like his colleagues in the music industry, like Chameleon, to run for mayor here. You know how he performed, because the mistake they make is to assume that Ugandans are gullible, they are not knowledgeable, they are not able to analyze and see the direction they are taking. The other category they are focused on, again on account of his background, is the ghetto. You have seen they have deployed all manner of machinations in the ghetto. I have seen the State House controller flagging off which ghetto group. I have seen the deputy assistant AIGP flagging off I don't know which groups in the ghetto, Damulira. I have seen another army man called Kutesa in the ghetto every day. Even Museveni said he was a ghetto man. He even tried to speak like the ghetto people. So I saw jokes on social media that the last 5 years it has been Chagulanyi leading Museveni, not the other way around, because everything he does, Museveni tries to copy. So, and I think that is the context in which the debate about trying to shop for Waganda candidates to take away some support. In fact, they even tried to create political parties in Uganda here to make sure that they weaken NUP, the regime, the incumbent. But all efforts have fallen flat. And I want to take this opportunity to assure them that instead of focusing on trying to weaken a person, they should try to address the concerns of the population. because all these things they have come up with, at the end of the day, benefit a few people. And also on account of the corruption that has become a part of the characteristics of the incumbent regime, is that most of this money ends up in the pockets of people who are sent to go and organize these groups, instead of having impact on ground. If NRM and Museveni were interested in addressing, for example, challenges in the ghetto, today would have low-cost housing units in those ghettos, replacing the shanty housing units people are sleeping in, would have power, would have water, would have good health facilities in those areas. That way, they would have achieved two things: gained political support, but also transformed lives of people. If they wanted to address the challenges in Uganda, in rural Uganda, there should have been deliberate, transparent efforts to address issues like land grabbing. But all you see are knee-jerk reactions. So they lost the direction of dealing with issues of the people because they have over-politicized everything. And I think that explains the presence of all these people they have tried to shop around to be in this race, not to achieve anything, but to disadvantage
Benjamin, your
our
former deputy president also started his party. And he has said because of security and everything else, his party is going to support NRM.
Well, I don't speak for him, but I think what you have just said also falls squarely within the matrix of what I've been explaining, that they have been trying to move around, shop whoever they can use to disadvantage our president and our party. And it has been an effort in vain, largely.
Malcolm, Dr. Obuku says Harold didn't quite get it right. Workers' MPs are 5, so the number voted by one person could even be more than what he had said.
That's why I'm saying, there are many MPs that one person may vote.
True. So Baganda contestants, nominations, do you believe that there are powerful people that have offered themselves for nomination? Or do you go with what Benjamin is saying, that they've been presented
I'll say
by the ruling party?
I do not know the metrics for measuring power in this. I'll say they are ambitious because they are I think it's about 4. I think 2 of them are returning.
5 actually.
It's 5. 2 of them are returning. I think the other 3 are new faces. The returnees are Chagulanyi and Mabrizi. I don't see them as very. I don't see it as a very big issue. I understand why it gains the prominence that it does, because when you look back at the 2021 elections, especially the NUP candidate had most of his support within Buganda. I think it has been very clear to the NRM that they have that their support within Buganda has been declining over time.
And Busoga.
And Busoga. And they would like to do something about it. They have been trying to do something about it all through the 5-year period. Like we've said, some prominent politicians from Buganda, NUPs especially, some have willingly crossed over, some have pretended to still be in opposition. But I do not see these particular candidates as making a very big difference in what this would be. I think it's it is a strategy that won't necessarily affect the final outcome. I don't know how. And yes, interestingly, you've found clashes. Not clashes, but there's been reported clashes between the NUP and the Kingdom. I'm wondering, so who does the Kingdom support? It's expected to be apolitical, but the hegemonic control that the kingdom has always presented a certain sense of block voting for the region, and that is worrisome for anyone who is interested in winning the election. And so there are attempts to try and be able to break that up and see how to weaken the candidate. I would think, though, that while there are attempts to weaken on one front, Uganda is way bigger than Buganda. Yes, Buganda is special because of the number of people that are there within the region, the age group as well. The population within Buganda is the youngest by region, especially for the voting population. And so it becomes a critical part of the electoral process. But I don't see that being a very big factor in the upcoming election.
Joseph, so many Baganda. There's on Twitter, Greens Kansime alleges that Baganda have a superiority complex. Hence, but I've looked at the ones campaigning. Maybe one or two may have a superiority complex. I think the others do not possess that aspect in them.
That's quite a surprising observation.
I think it is not surprising, but totally false. But and another, you have Raymond Mujuni saying Uganda is very hospitable, very accommodating, and I know a young man, we've had him here severally, Yamo Burubuto. When he was here, he was campaigning for NRM, but now he wants to be Lord Mayor, an independent Lord Mayor. I'll invite him one of his days. So then what explains having 5?
Until it was put in that context, I hadn't actually even thought about it. In fact, I hadn't actually counted that there are 5 candidates from Buganda. Because
and you're saying it doesn't matter.
No, and I genuinely had not thought about the identity background of these candidates until, interestingly, another area where it arose was another conversation in which I was a guest, and a major media conversation, and then somebody said that, apparently there is no candidate from Luo background, or certainly no candidate from a non-Bantu background, which then I also found very interesting, but this then brings the context of this. For me, interestingly, the thing that I picked most, without prejudice, was this question of women being absent in this. But perhaps all...
we have former presidential candidate Norbert Mao. He has created a bloc to support President Museveni. And then...
that does not make him
the two people from the Luo area, Joseph and Jimmy, fighting each other. So
no, I was denied this by the judicial process that failed to clear me as president of the party, and that's very disappointing. But in any case, I hadn't seen myself as a low candidate. I'd actually seen myself as president of Uganda People's Congress. And if there is a political party which is nationalistic and national, it's actually Uganda People's Congress, having been founded as Uganda National Congress in 1952 with our first president as Ignatius Musazi, lest you forget. But the last most powerful politician in Uganda was UPC's vice president, who had power, Paul Muwanga. He was also the last minister of defense who had power in Uganda. And Samuel Mugisha, who was the minister for agriculture, critical department, who had power in 1980-85. So unfortunately, some of these numbers are neither here nor there. But to then broadly contextualize away from Robert and talk about the politics of numbers, I now see maybe one of the reasons why people are talking about it, since you even drew up my brother Norbert in the mathematics of trying to connect and disconnect and push aside. Buganda is the largest identity, so I don't see why they should not have up to 3 candidates out of 8. And if they do exceptionally well, to try up to 5. In any case, part of my concern was that perhaps sometimes Buganda does not do as well as we do in mobilizing and bringing out women to advocate for positions of national leadership on their own merit.
Let's have Lydia close out this discussion.
As I close, I want to make it very emphatic that please do not look at women only by their biology. It's very painful. The women will not wait to be given. They should know that the political space you work hard for and negotiate and push and pull. Before men and other people to come out after nominations and dance, oh, where are women? You are just looking at the biology of a woman. Politics, not just it is biology plus. And let me tell my sisters out there, you can have it elsewhere because you're a woman, but you not have it because you're a woman in politics.
Lydia, it's the responsibility of government.
Wait,
to create enabling.
Your time is gone. Let women come out. The political space is not enough to be biologically a woman. This one I have to tell you. This is a tough space. You must stand out. You must brand. You must be known. Don't go quietly because you have this biology of a woman to the electoral commission. They will pull you down. They will dominate you. They will pull you down because that's how you have presented. Present as a politician. Let your biology be secondary. Maybe it's an added advantage, but don't pull it to be the first advantage. You will not get it in politics. In politics, it's not biology. In politics is your capacity to be able to stand out, to make a contribution, and to be able above your neck, not below your neck.
Thank you.
And please, the biology is because we are few.
Thank you, Lydia.
How biology will help you shall be.
Crispin Kaheru. Crispin Kaheru has tells Professor Ndebesa that his insinuation is not true. The EC procured 15 security cars, 8 were stationed at Lueza and 7 at the EC. And then he says Kaija has stolen a show with before he meets you, they profile your problems. Says that is the statement that he has taken from you today. Thank you so much, the gangsters of the day, Mr. Benjamin Katana. Thank you. Honorable Lydia Wanyoto, thank you. Joseph Ochieno, we feel bad for you. Thank you, Harold Kaija. And thank you, Malcolm. Malcolm, you know, I attended. My district governor wants me to say that I'm a Rotarian. I gave a stunning Rotary talk.
I was in attendance.
Yes,
it was stunning.
So I'm meeting my obligations for
yes,
Rotary.
You are. Yes, you are.
So Star Cafe, thank you so much. I am Oscar Semoyam Soke, and I shall see you next week.